Fantasy freaks and geeks. What's going on? James Coe here with you. It's Friday, so let's break down that Thursday night football game, and I will get into my tight end sleepers here as well. I want to start on the Steelers side of things. This was the most snaps played by Jaylen Warren all season long, and that does continue a recent trend here, all right? First, in the first 4 games he played, he logged roughly 35% of the snaps. Over his last 4 games, he's up to around 45% of the snaps as he has gotten healthier. So again, he's going from roughly 35% to now roughly 45%. I think that's a significant increase in his production. And as a result, we saw Warren put up the most productive fantasy day of the season for him. 11 carries, 45 yards, 3 catches for another 19 and a touchdown. You add that all up together, right? We're talking about nearly 65 total yards with 3 catches and a touch. We're at 15.4 PPR points on the day. You'll take that all day long. Now, on the flip side of that, there's a lot of folks out there that I'm sure, listen, Najee has not been a sexy pick by any stretch of the imagination, but if you've been hard up for running back, Najee's been there for you. All right. I mean, the guy's never missed a game in his life, and that's not cap. That's not an exaggeration. He literally has never missed a game in his life, at least at the pro level. Okay. So I just bring that up because then we need to lower the ceiling and floor for Najee Harris moving forward. I think this trend will continue, and I think we will definitely see a 50-50 split here in this Steelers backfield. So I think those days of Najee Harris commanding, 70%, 80% of the snaps, those days are long gone now that Jaylen Warren is getting a little bit healthier. Let's flip it to the other side here. For the Cleveland Browns, this was a big jump in playtime, at least in playtime percentage, for Nick Chubb. He was at or below 36% of the snaps in 3 of his first 4 games played coming back from the injury. His snap count share jumped up to 64% on TNF. Again, he was at or below 36% of the snaps on TNF yesterday, last night. He was up to 64%. And obviously, Chubb came up huge in fantasy. 2 touchdown performance, big 19-point PPR day there on Thursday Night Football to get your week off right. I promise you, if you've been holding on Nick Chubb, that must have felt great on Bye-Mageddon, bye week hell. 6 teams on a bye, man. There is not a running back in sight. Guys are out here playing second string running backs as their RB1 this week. Shoot, it must have felt great to go see Nick Chubb out there doing his thing. And getting 2 touchdowns. Now, make no mistake. Did he look like his old self? No, of course not. He is still very much laboring out there. But again, this is at least from a timeshare, snap share percentage situation, a very nice increase for him. Now, we did see this from his first game back to his second game back. We did see a snap share jump there as well. I think this one's a little bit different now that he is a month back from his injury. I do think we can kind of sort of see this trend moving upwards where we will see him play 65 to 75% of the snaps moving forward. Final note from that game, Cedric Tillman is in concussion protocol. Look, I get it, man. It hurts. You got like less than a point from Cedric Tillman. It's an injury. What are you going to do? Snowy conditions. The conditions were way worse than even a lot of the forecasts had. So I don't know, man. I don't know what to tell you. I mean, shoot, there weren't too many, usable assets here in this football game, to be honest with you, So Elijah Moore, terrible. Jameis Winston, not good. Russell Wilson, not good. Oh, man. Mike Williams barely played too. Oh, that's another story. Mike Williams. We thought Mike Williams was going to be a big factor. Turns out hasn't been the case. Mike Williams played just 28% of the snaps there last night. We can assume the snap share will climb, but it is difficult to say when. maybe you give him a little bit of grace here because you say, hey, listen, it was a short week. It's Thursday Night Football. Obviously, he's still learning the playbook. Maybe he's still getting acclimated. All right, man. But now we're going into week 13. At what point do we start feeling comfortable? You know what I'm saying? Getting Mike Williams into your lineups, man. Anyways, let's keep it moving here. All right, let's talk about my favorite tight end sleepers for the week, and obviously at the top of the list, man, it's got to be Will Dissly taking on Baltimore. No, I think you can look for Will Dissly to build on last week's big game. On my SiriusXM satellite show, Fantasy Football Post Game, you can find that every Sunday night. Okay, on Sirius XM. If I could do a little cross promotion, if you will allow me to do a little cross promotion, we are calling him Whistly. Okay, we're calling him Whistly or the Dismissal. It's not. I don't know. These are not great nicknames, but I kind of like Whistly. You know, because I don't know. It's so dismissive of his actual name. Have you guys actually, by the way, have you guys seen pictures of Will Dissly, man? Will Dissly 100% looks like, he looks like a refrigerator salesman. I mean, it's incredible. Will Dissly does not look like an NFL player, bro. Like, he just doesn't. Like, he doesn't have, like, his aura is like negative, you know? It's like, he looks like what you would think a Will Dissly would look like if he wasn't playing in the NFL. Anyways, whatever, man. I'm going down a tangent. There's people out there right now trying to, Google on their phone pictures of Will Dissly, man. I'm telling you, bro, it is funny. It is funny. There was no chance in hell you would think that Will Dissly is an NFL player. I mean, obviously you would from his size, but just from his photos, nah, man, nah. Anyways, he's taking on Baltimore. We know Baltimore's pass defense is broken right now. The Ravens have allowed the third most receptions and the fourth most yards per game to the position group. Will Dissly, shoot, man, let's go. Let's freaking go. I really like Triple H, Hunter Henry, this week against Miami. This is a Dolphins defense that just gave up a monster 31-point fantasy day to Brock Bowers in the week prior. They also allowed Trey McBride to go off to the tune of 124 yards. I get it. Obviously, Hunter Henry is not of that class. I understand. But the point does remain that this defense can be stung by tight ends. And listen, the volume is there. Okay, the volume is there. And volume is king. Let's be real. The volume is there and it's king. Okay, over his last 5 games, Hunter Hurst Henry is averaging a hefty 7.2 targets per game. It's translated into 5.4 receptions and 54 yards per contest as well. Man, that is a significant jump, right? If you compare his last 5 games versus his first 6 games, night and day. Okay, he goes from 5 targets to 7.2 targets. He goes from 3.2 receptions to 5.4 receptions. He goes from 36.8 yards to 54 yards per game. Huge jump in production, huge jump in overall targets as well. 5 to 7.2, man, that is significant. Significant at the tight end position. All right, I'll give you a deep sleeper. I've talked about this guy a lot because I just like him. I think he's a good-ass player, man. Ja'Tavion Sanders taking on Kansas City. Kansas City has been getting gashed by opposing tight ends. I mean, just getting got, man. The Chiefs have given up the 3rd most fantasy points per game to the position, including the most receptions and the most yards per game as well. Now, I'm saying he's a deep sleeper. I'm not full-throated, 10 toes in on Ja'Tavion Sanders this week, and I'll explain why. If you've listened to this podcast, what have I been saying about Ja'Tavion Sanders? It all depends on whether or not Tommy Tremble is playing, and Tommy Tremble is trending towards playing this week. That's literally the only reason I'm not all in on Sanders. But that being said, because, by the way, if this is the first time you're hearing this, okay, Ja'Tavion Sanders, literally all of his good games have come when Tommy Tremble has not played. He has not put together a good game when Tommy Tremble has played, period. I think a lot of that has to do with role. Tommy Tremble's good and active in the run game. You know, they're going to get him out there. They're going to keep him out there. They've got, now with Thielen back as well, they've got an extra mouth to feed. They've got three wide receivers that they're definitely going to go with, I would assume. So I am nervous about this, but the matchup is there. The talent level is there, and sometimes that's all you need. All right. I do think it's a possibility as well that the Carolina Panthers will say, screw it. Let's get Sanders out there. Let's get some offense up. You know what I mean? Because he's a much more, dynamic pass catcher and playmaker after the catch than Tommy Tremble. So we shall see. Okay, deep sleeper. Another deep sleeper for you. I know this guy's available, man. Come on now. If you are desperate for tight end, Theo Johnson against Tampa Bay, I think is a pretty good play. Again, he's a deep sleeper, so he could absolutely crash out. But the matchup is there. The Bucs have given up 14 plus PPR points to starting tight ends in 5 of their last 6 games. 3 of those players went for 20 plus. Okay, so Theo Johnson with Tommy Cutlets, bad. He could put up a decent number. I wouldn't be surprised to see Tommy Cutlets check it down to a big athletic tight end like Theo Johnson. By the way, in back-to-back weeks, Theo Johnson, a rookie, has been developing. He has seen exactly 6 targets in back-to-back weeks. 6 targets, that's pretty good volume overall for tight end. Again, I hesitate there just a little bit because it's not Daniel Jones. It is Tommy Cutlets. Does that hold up? I don't know. But, I mean, just thinking out loud here, I could see that holding up because, again, he's a big-bodied, super athletic dude, is Theo Johnson. And maybe, Tommy Cutlets does try to lean on these big body guys just a little bit. We know one thing, man. He ain't going to be driving the ball downfield. You know what I'm saying? So I think the running backs will get activated. I think the tight ends will get activated here for the Giants as well. All right, final one here for you. Jonnu Smith versus New England. I put him on the end because, guys, I realize you really can't call him a sleeper. Again, as the arbiter of who is and who is not a sleeper, even I cannot say that Jonnu Smith is a sleeper because at this point he is a top 10 fantasy tight end. You can't say somebody who's top 10 at this position going into week number 12 is a sleeper. You can't do it. Okay. I'm just bringing him up on my podcast because I could talk about whoever the hell I want to talk about, but I bring him up because, hey, listen, man, I mean, you know your boy. I love a good revenge narrative. Revenge. Let's go. Okay. Plus, hey, Jonnu has been heavily utilized in the passing game recently. Over his last 6 games, he's averaging a very chunky 6.5 targets per game, resulting in 5 receptions and 61.7 yards per contest. Again, if you just take those averages, he's averaging nearly 12 PPR points per game over his last 6 games. The matchup is neutral. It's kind of whatever. It's actually on the downside of maybe it's like a C- matchup. You know what I'm saying? But Jonnu Smith has been getting a lot of work, and obviously they don't trust any of their wide receivers for whatever reason. I don't know. T. Higgins, welcome to New England. You're going to be there very soon. Anyways, no, but Jonnu Smith I think is a good play. I just want to throw him out there because, again, good revenge game narrative, and the dude's been seeing a ton of targets and volume overall. Okay, anyways, that's it for me. Tomorrow we will get back here. We'll talk about the final injury reports going into the weekend, and hopefully we can navigate some of these injuries and navigate bye week hell as well. All right, I got to go, but remember, it's never too late to chase your dreams. Peace.